Hey everyone, welcome back to our Dungeon of the Endless members only run. This time we're heading on to floor 2, and I'm going to try and go a little bit more in depth into the mechanics. I'm not sure if I explained them the best that I could last video. It was sort of an introductory video. I didn't have a lot of time to explain anyways. It was only maybe 5 minutes, so this time I'm going to try and synchronize a little bit better with what's going on screen with the gameplay. I'll try and, sort of explain things as I go. There's a lot that happens, so it might be a little difficult, and I might not explain everything at once, but I'll try and give a brief overview. I'm sorry that this intro is taking so long. It's just, for whatever reason, load time kind of stalled a little bit on me, so we've got a minute of preparation. It's good. It gives me some time to actually speak before we get into the action. So, alright, here we are on floor 2, as indicated by that convenient wall panel. It'll help us keep track while we're in the level, how close we are to the ending. But, so as I explained last video, dust powers rooms, and it's sort of a chain sort of system. You can't just place willy-nilly what rooms you want to power. It has to be sort of in a line from your crystal room, because the crystal itself, as you can see, the sort of power lines coursing along the floor, it actually does power those. So right here we found an endless artifact, a science artifact, so we researched Pepper Spray 1. And Pepper Spray is going to come in handy quite a bit throughout, pretty much from the time we research it, essentially. And right there we got a stale. Stales, I think that's the pronunciation. The stales can have positive and negative effects. This one we have right now is ignored. I personally don't like this one because it makes all of the enemies pretty much pay no attention to you and go straight to your crystal room. If you have very offensive characters that can chase down enemies and do a lot of damage and kill them all quickly, it's not too bad, but it can be very detrimental if you have a lot of enemies attacking at once and they're just walking through you. And right there we run to a merchant. Merchants will deal in any of the resources we have above, so they will buy and sell items for industry, science, food, or dust. Later on they start selling primarily, buying and selling primarily for dust, but occasionally, rarely they will do it for on earlier floors. So right there we bought a 2-2. Or no, we found the 2-2 in a chest. You also find chests with items. And if you need them or don't need them, you can, you can equip them on your heroes, or you can sell them to the merchant for extra resources. So that's pretty good. Kind of a more traditional roguelike aspect to the game. And it helps you kind of maintain your squad, keep them powerful, keep them protected, whatever. Some, or actually a lot of armor, weapons, and sort of, I guess, utility or accessory items will give you extra benefits, be it, you get buffs to your character if there's other heroes in the room, or enemies will focus only on them if they're in the room and ignore your other heroes, which can be good if you have a very tanky character like Jolary. But since we only have 2 characters, that may not be the best idea. See, we're just going through here. Right here we have a necrophage crystal file? I don't know. Some sort of... He likes crystals, so he ignores us right here. You see, he's not even paying attention to us. That guy, if we leave him alone, he'll go straight to our crystal room and start punching the crap out of it. I think you're going to see that later on this video, because I have a little bit of trouble managing all the enemies that start spawning in. So, but yeah, we're researching modules. We haven't really gotten too much into modules. That's where the tower defense comes in. So you've seen the squad base, you've seen the roguelike. You haven't necessarily seen the tower defense, though, and that's going to come in pretty soon here, because I realize that we have so many dark rooms, and enough enemies are spawning in. And right there, you might have seen, I just pulled an ability for Hakensha that makes her, it improves her attack power. And particularly, I think if she's in a darkened room, it amplifies it even further, but we just need her to hold that spot, because, like I said last video, she's going to be our operator for this playthrough. That glowing white and green gear above her head means that whatever major module she's near, she's operating on it, and she's basically getting us more food per turn than we would be getting otherwise. I think we'd be getting 7 without her, so she's giving us an extra 3 per door opened. And that's another thing, is that time doesn't pass, like time-wise, it actually passes door-wise. So every time you open a door, enemies will spawn in, you'll gain materials, research will be done, everything, even cooldowns for your abilities, are based on doors being opened. And right there you saw we had a pretty nasty spawn-in with one of the necrophage crystal files. I don't even know if that's their actual name. I seem to remember reading that on the wiki, but I could be mispronouncing it. It may be a slightly different word or something. I don't know. But, yeah, so where you're seeing right here, we're having kind of a deficiency of dust. We don't have enough dust for all of the doors that we've opened. So right here I place our most basic defensive measure, or I guess offensive measure, the prisoner prod. They just shoot little kind of pea shooter lasers, but they at least take care of rooms when we can't be in there, which is good because, like you see here, since they're dark rooms, there are enemies spawning in, and those prisoner prods are taking care of enemies. And you always start out with prisoner prod 1. That's kind of the most basic of minor modules that you can put down. And you probably understand this just from seeing it, but any of those small blue glowing dots, those are the minor module slots where you can put any defensive stuff that you've got. Whereas the large conduits are major module slots where you can put any of your resource creation sort of things, the food regenerator, or replicator, the science creator, and industry replicator. I forget all their names. They're all basically replicating stuff. They're making resources for you. And right there, the necrophage necrodrones, those big bug guys, the flying bug guys. The necrophages are also featured in Endless Legend as a major faction, by the way. Kind of, there's some interesting parallels from game to game. It is a consistent universe. So you see some of the same characters. Like, for instance, Jolari is actually part of the Broken Lords, which is another very interesting faction from Endless Legend. And I've never played it either. I think the lore is really interesting. I've watched a lot of videos from Amplitude Studios, the people who make the games. But right there we found Sarah Numis. We're not going to be recruiting anybody, though, because this is a members-only run. But she's pretty quick. She's decent on the offense, but she's very, very squishy. So usually I keep her for the Crystal Runner. But yeah, Jolari is just fine as is, because she's decently fast and quite defensive, so she can hold her own. So, still didn't quite get into everything that you can do with industry, science, and food, but I think we at least explain a little bit more of the core goings-on. And I also haven't really explained the story, but I will leave you guys with this. If you want to see a really cool intro that will probably explain the prologue to this game better than I ever could, check up the Dungeon of the Endless YouTube channel and look up the very short film. That explains everything you need to know, more or less. Anyways, the video's over, so I gotta get going. Thanks for watching, everybody. See you next time on Floor 3.